Hi guys, Samantha from Samantha Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create this Northern Lights pendant. It's a little different from what I usually make. It actually has raised areas, if you hopefully can pick that up. There we go. And it's a new technique that I'm busy playing around with, and I'm really happy with how this one turned out, so I'm going to show you how to create it. So first, what you're going to need to do is create your aurora in the background. So I've just got a piece of black clay here that's been rolled out on the thickest setting of my pasta machine, which is about 2mm thick, which is about the thickness you want. So depending on what pasta machine you want, that's the thickness you want to go with. So I'm just going to pop that down and just use this paper to just gently burnish it. I use these pieces of paper multiple times. Doesn't have to be perfectly burnished at the moment, it just needs to be stuck down. Now, this is a great technique to use Sculpey 3 with, because first off, Sculpey 3 is not very strong, so you can't use it on your own, but it's really nice for smearing colour across. So this is all clay, there is no paint. And that is how we create the aurora in the background. It's also how we create the snow peaks. So to create the aurora, I'm actually going to take this off, I wasn't supposed to burnish that on yet. We are going to take a small amount of green. You can see how sticky that is. Take a small amount of that. Some purple. I didn't use purple in the original design. I want to use purple today. Take a piece of that. You need a really small amount for this. And some blue. And then, very important, we need white. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I don't even think we need that amount. I'm going to halve that. And probably halve this as well, because I don't want to mix up too much. Okay, I'm going to take some white. And don't worry if you get colour transferring from one to the other. And it's about equal parts white to equal parts colour. And you can use any colours you want to create your aurora. Okay, and you're also going to need some white later on for when we do our little mountain peaks. Okay, then just mix those colours together, and you're also going to need a little bit of white later because we're going to be creating a skinner blend, and we're going to need little white strips in between. So just quickly mix up these colours. You don't even need to use a pasta machine for it, it's soft enough to do it by hand. You can see how much colour transfers, so just be careful of that. And just mix it to the colour that you like. And then when they're done, we can make our skinner blend. Then once you've got all three colours mixed, they don't have to be a perfect mix. You can see here we still have some streaks and swirls in it. You don't need a perfect mix, that's fine. Pop them to the side, grab some white as well. Just going to roll that into a ball. And what we're going to do is I'm probably going to separate each of these colours out into two. Okay, and then you need as many pieces of the white as you have colours, so we need 6 pieces of white. Then I want you to take each of these and roll them into a little log. Don't need to create triangles. So just roll it into a log, then take whichever colour you want next. Roll it into the same length of log, squish that together, and put white between each colour. Okay, then I want to put purple, and then just do that for all of your colours. There we go. And that's all we need to do. Now we're just going to take a roller, and you don't even need to put this through your pasta machine. You can if you want, but if you don't have a pasta machine, it's perfectly fine to not, because this clay blends very quickly. It's very soft and squishy. And this is not supposed to end up looking like a perfect skinner blend. So all you're going to do is you're just going to fold that in half, back over itself essentially. So just squishing it together, and then go run it through the pasta machine on my second biggest setting. Fold again, roll again, and just repeat this process until you feel the colours are blended to your liking. And there we go, that's about what we're looking for. Not perfect, but it really does not matter. And if it has little air bubbles in it like it has here, don't worry about that, that gets smoothed out quite quickly. So now you have two options. You can either use plain black clay, bring some paint and a toothbrush over, white paint, dip your toothbrush into the white paint and then spritz that over the surface to create stars. That is one way of doing it. Or you can use Primo Galaxy. Excuse me, not Galaxy, Twinkle Twinkle. And this will already have glitter in it, which will create the stars. Now I find that it's a little too glittery for my liking, so what I like to do is I like to take about equal parts Twinkle Twinkle and Primo Black, and I will mix those together and this will disperse the glitter a bit. And there we go, and here is how it looks. So now I'm going to take that, I'm just going to gently smooth that down, and I'll take a piece of paper. I'll just gently burnish it onto the tile so it's stuck well, so that we have no air bubbles as well. I like to smooth out as many air bubbles as possible, and just in general, a nice piece ready to work with. Then we're going to take this, and let me just put this over here so you can see. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop that like so, so we have a nice straight edge to work with. And I want you to trim out a very thin piece, so you can see there, hopefully, there, how thin a piece that is. Take that, I'm trying to keep it in the camera so you can see. Let me bring it forward a bit there, now you can see a bit more. Just gently roll that, like so, and take it. Like so, and just place it down onto your piece. And generally I'll put 2 to 3 pieces like that onto the Galaxy clay. So I'll just roll out another one, and I like to reverse it generally as well. And then just gently tap that down. And now it doesn't look great at the moment. That is fine. It's not supposed to look great just yet. We haven't done anything to it. Just want to put one more on around here. Okay. I might just take this as well. Just put that to the side. We can add more later if we need to. So let me move you back out so you can see. Now first thing to do is to take your paper and smooth that down onto your clay, like so. Doesn't have to be perfectly flat, but it needs to be smoothed down pretty well. Then take your finger, make sure that it's clean and you don't have anything on it, and just start smearing it, like so. And everything I'm doing with this one down here, you will repeat with the other ones. Okay, now I'm just going to do it with my thumb up this way. Smear the opposite way as well. And this will just break up the outline and give it that signature look that the Aurora has. Like these flaming pieces coming out. And you can do it another time down on the bottom, stretch it out as far as you can. And then repeat a few times until you're happy that it's been spread out enough. So we're nearly at that point. Okay. Then again, just take your piece of paper and gently smooth that, because that will have created a divot. There we go. I like to just smooth over some areas. If you have some black areas, that's fine. Then I like to take a pointed rubber tool. Let me just bring the correct one over. I like to use this. And what I will do then is I'll use that to create even more texture along the bottom here where it has this smear. Just run it along and rub, and the Sculpey 3 will smear. And this is why I like using the Sculpey 3, because the Sculpey 3 is very soft, and so this is very easy to do. If you're using something like Polymer, it's going to take a little bit longer and it might not smear as much. So if you're going to use something other than Sculpey 3 for this, I would recommend maybe mixing some translucent clay into whatever brand of clay you have chosen to use, because that will soften it up and make it smear around a lot easier. Okay, then repeat the opposite way. And then everything I've done with this one, I will repeat with the other two up here to create our aurora pattern. You can see what a big difference this has made already. Okay, there we go. Now, before you move on to the next one, you need to smooth this down a fair amount, just to get rid of any cracks, crevices, things like that. There we are. And if there's anything that you're unhappy with, you can just go back with your finger and gently smooth, and that will get rid of parts that might have a little bit too much texture for your liking. Like there are a few separate areas where it just feels like it might have a bit too much texture. So just play around with it until you are happy with your effect, and then when you are happy with it, move on to the next one. And when these two are finished, I'll show you what to do next. There we go. And now at this point, take a nice piece of clean paper and give this a thorough burnish so that it is flat. You can even use your roller at this point. Now just want to make it nice and flat. Get rid of those divots. And that should not take too much to do. And you can see how little of the Sculpey 3 we used. So maybe keep that skinny blend for each time you're going to create one of these pendants. You could create a bunch of them. Okay, and that looks pretty smooth. Okay, and now it doesn't look exactly like what we did here, and I will explain to you what we did here to create it all super shiny and stuff later on. But for now, that is all you need to do. So just take the Sculpey 3 and just chop off any excess bits that you might have. Pick that up off the tile and just put it to the side. We'll use that in a little while. Now I'm just going to move the Sculpey 3 out of the way. Okay, now you're going to need a piece of black polymer clay. Plain black, it's quite important that it is plain black. That was rolled out to about 1 millimeter or less. The thinner you can make it, the better, but you need to be comfortable with working with it. So we're again going to take a piece of paper, burnish it, and actually I want it sitting on a piece of paper, it will make things a lot easier. There we go. Pop it on top of this piece of paper, grab another piece and we'll burnish it, and it will just make it nice and smooth. There we are. And now we're ready to work. Now I've already sketched out my mountains on a piece of paper here, and yes, you can sketch them out, and that actually makes it quite easy to create them. So what I want to do is I actually just want to remove this little white bit here. It's a little hard because the paper keeps moving. Just don't want that there. There we go. Okay, so take your sketch, place it onto your piece, gently burnish it on, then take a nice thin ball point tool, like so, and then just press along where you made your sketch. If you can draw it directly onto the clay, that is perfectly fine, but for those of you who feel more comfortable sketching, or maybe you even want to print out an image of a mountain, this is the way to go. Doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to create enough of an indent that you will be able to see it on your clay. And the camera might not be able to pick that up, but human eyes can. Just go over it a few times and just gently burnish it to make sure that you have that indent deep enough. There we go. And you can see there I went straight through the clay. That's fine. Okay, so now I'm just going to use my ball tool on the clay now, just to give it a slight update, make it more obvious where the line is. But you can see already from over here, it's already quite obvious. So it's a great way to use one of your sketches and put it onto clay. Okay, now you're going to need some white Sculpey. Just take a little bit, you really need a tiny bit. And we're going to just take that, roll it into a log, very thin piece. And you're going to take that, fold it in half, and then put that over the line of where the peak of your mountain is. Like so. I like to do one at a time when I do this. There we go. Okay, then press that down with your finger. Okay. And then just use your finger to smear. And you only want to smear in one direction this time. You want to smear onto the mountain, you don't want to be smearing up. Just continue doing that until you feel that you've created a successful looking snow cap. And I'll just gently press up here because I don't want that to move. Okay. And I am pretty happy with that. I'm just busy smoothing out this line that I created over here, and you can actually just use a piece of paper to gently burnish that out, because now the paper is going to show me where the line of that mountain is instead of my ball tool's line. Okay, then what you've done with this one, take another piece and repeat with this one. Okay, and there we go. Now I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm just going to burnish this to hopefully remove some of my ballpoint marks. Not all of it, but just enough that it's not a huge deep divot in this anymore. And it will also just smooth out that Sculpey 3 so that it's nice and smooth and flat. Okay, there we go. Now take a craft knife and I am going to cut inside the white. To create the mountain. There we go. Just continue trimming. You can fix the mountain face if you weren't quite happy with how it appeared. There we go. And don't cut down this side because it's supposed to sit together as one piece, like so. Sorry if you heard that noise outside, it's one of the neighbours. Okay, now just go through and make sure that you trim this nice and clean, like so. Okay, and now you have an option here. You can either leave it flush like it is, or you can gently press down along the edges, like so, just to give it a gentle gentle bevel. I don't like to do huge bevel, but a little bit makes a bit of a difference. And we'll smooth out those fingerprints in just a moment. Just go gently press along those sides with your finger. Just to make it so that they're not flush, and instead a nice bevel. Then just use your paper to gently smooth along those edges. Okay, just check that you've got rid of all fingerprints. And then one more thing that I like to do at this point is if I see anything such as there's a little black spot there that I want to get rid of, and there's a little hair there, and another little piece of glitter. Then you can just gently use your finger to smooth that over, get rid of that black bit. There we go. Alright, and that is our piece. So now we're going to lift this off the paper using our knife, and it should lift off fairly easily. Then bring over this, and I'm going to actually put this on a nice cleaner piece of paper because we're going to bake it on there. So just pop it down here, and now I'd recommend before putting your mountains on that you take another piece of paper and you burnish this so that the back is nice and smooth. That way we won't have to attach a backing, hopefully. Give this a thorough burnish right now before you put the mountains on, because we don't want to flatten them against the back. Okay, there we go. Now you can check from this side to see if it's nice. You can even burnish from this side to make sure that it has a nice smooth backing. There we go. And peel that up. We're ready to put our mountains onto the back. Now you want to choose a spot where you think the aurora is going to look best. And remember, you can go over pieces of the aurora if you want. Just move it around and decide where you like it. And if you see something that you don't like I think this edge is not organic enough, you can gently take your finger and smooth it, just to correct something that you might not be completely happy with. And I think I'm probably going to place that there. Now don't press it down yet. Bring over whatever shape you're going to use first. And I'm going to be using my smallest maxi cutter. And then just position it where you think it would look best. And I think I like it over there. And then just look from a few angles to see whether that is what you want. And I think I'm going to probably cut about there and then press. Lift up. Now because you didn't press this down, you can remove this easily. You have a little bit of white there, so just pinch that bit off, and that is still pure black that you can now go put back where it's supposed to go. Then take your mountain and gently tap it down. Give it a smooth if you want as well. And this as well, you want to just trim that and that, and that is pure clay that you can just go put back in your packet. Now I'm just going to lift this up. And this bit, what you can either do is you can leave it the way it is and mix it together to have galaxy clay with, excuse me, not why do I keep calling it galaxy clay? Twinkle twinkle clay with some slight colour tones in it. Or you can try and shave off these colours, completely up to you. I generally mix it back together. Okay, and then I'm just going to give this one final cut, and because it's a circle, give it a twist. That gives an extra clean along the sides. And lift. And then before baking, I like to just smooth off these little fiddly bits so that they don't bake along with it. There we go. Okay, and I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I just want to put a hole in it now. Okay, and I'm going to take a Kemper cutter and I'm going to position it in the spot where I think the hole would look best. Okay. Then press, give it a twist and lift up. Just pop that out, you don't need that. And there we go, you've got your hole. Okay, now you're going to put that in the oven for a full hour at Primo's recommended temperature, and when it comes out we can add the spots that are all nice and glittery that you see over here. Okay, so here it is out of the oven and you can see that baked pretty well. Now I just want to show you an example here of this one. You can see that beveling the edges here means that the mountain peaks are not as sharp, so depending on what result you want, just keep that in mind. Now you're going to need some mica powders, so we'll do the Aurora up here first. So I've matched up a blue, green and purple mica powder, and then for the snow caps we're going to be using pearl white. Just going to grab a piece of paper, and I might actually just use this one. Actually no, I don't want to do that. Never mind. Just going to take some resin, and this is the brand that I'm using. Any UV resin that does not dome will work. I'm just going to put a small amount onto my tile. There we go. I'm going to take a bit on my brush and mix it in there, and you don't need a lot of mica powder. Okay, so we'll start with the blue and just dab your brush off, you don't need a lot on there. And then for all of the blue areas, just go over it, that mica powder, and it will just give it a shiny finish. And then repeat with the green and the purple, and only paint on the Aurora bit. You want to leave the black pretty much normal. Okay, now you can go over and add as much or as little of the mica powder as you want. Okay, and I'm pretty happy with that. I will now go and do the green and the purple. Okay, then once you've done that, just go around with a rubber tool quickly and just scrape, just to break up that line where the resin is, so that it has the same effect that the Aurora has. And I've done that with almost all of it. Okay, then take your brush again, and I've got a little bit of pearl white over here, and I want you to gently touch it along those edges of your snow cap. This will just add it, give it a bit of sparkle, and we'll just highlight it essentially. Like so. Okay, and we're going to be adding a coat of resin after this as well. And one thing that I do want to do is I just want to run my finger along this and just smooth off where I had a little bit coming off the edge, because I do want a nice clear cut line between this mountain and the other one. Then just repeat with the other one. Okay, and here's how it should look when it is done. Now I want you to put that into the UV light for like maybe a minute, just to set the liquid clay, not liquid clay, the resin enough that we can put on the next layer without the mica particles spreading. So just pop that under UV light for a minute, and then we can apply the next layer. Okay, and it is out of the UV light, so So it's still be a little sticky to the touch, but it will have set the resin enough that we can now apply our next layer. So just start by thinly trailing some resin over the surface like so, and you really do not need a lot. That should be enough. Then I prefer to use my rubber tool to do this. Just want to work it around so that it touches all of the edges. And this will smooth everything out so that you can't actually see where we put the mica powder joins with the resin. It'll just make everything much better. So just smooth it over, repeat on the peaks up here, you smooth that over as well. And then when that's done, I'll show you what it looks like, and then we put it in the UV light for about half an hour to set it correctly. Okay, and here is how it should look afterwards. It should be nice and smooth. And now we're going to put that into the UV light for half an hour. Just before doing that, just twist it around and make sure that you did coat the resin everywhere. You don't want spots showing up after you have put this in the light. Okay, looks all good. So that's going to go in the light now. Okay, and here are our two pieces. Now the main difference between these two is the fact that this one's mountains are beveled a bit, whereas this one is just straight. And you can see it has made quite a difference, so depending on which look you prefer, feel free to go with whichever one you want. Also this one I have not included any purple, whereas this one we have. That's also a fairly large difference. Also this one's background was done with black clay with white paint spritzed on top, whereas this one has the glitter on it, and you can see that makes a fair difference as well. So just keep these differences in mind when you are working with the clay, because again each time it's going to achieve a different effect, so mix and match as you prefer your effects. So that's basically it for this tutorial. All you have to do with this now is you just have to loop some cord through here and put it onto whichever necklace strand you want, but it's basically a pendant that is ready to go, so choose whatever cord you want to put with it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video, also let me know as well. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.